Hello and welcome to Inside Grand Prix in China. The world champion reveals to us how he likes his car to perform in Shanghai.
I like a car that's oversteered.
Plus, Formula One shows its caring side.
It's not a case of giving children back.
We enter the very unique world of the test drivers.
It's also my world.
Enjoy watching Inside Grand Prix on the race in Shanghai. It's like the Big Apple of the Orient, Shanghai beguiling with its skyscrapers and countless office buildings. It's precisely here that we want to take a close look at Chinese habits and customs. We're meeting Qing Zhao, age 31, an office worker from China.
你好，欢迎来到中国。
Ni hao and a warm welcome to China. We're always pleased to see visitors from other countries here, and they're very welcome. Chinese people also like to invite travelers into their homes. If you ever visit a Chinese person, always take a gift with you. That shows good manners, and every host will be delighted by it.
大家参考一下，比如有一个中国人带你到家里面去吃饭。
It doesn't have to be anything expensive. Postcard from the traveller's country's enough, or a pin badge or some little humorous thing. They'll really like that a lot, as the Chinese are always very curious about things from abroad.
或者小纪念章啊之类的都特别有意思。还有就是中国人吃饭的话，大部分
At meals, especially when eating rice, there's one thing you must remember. Placing your chopsticks upright in the rice during any pause in eating is not the done thing.
所以也要请注意一下，就是如果到了
In China, that's a sign of remembrance to deceased family members, and only actually done on one special day.
对中国来说，大家在一起吃饭就是那个。
During the meal, you should also never blow your nose, as it's seen as very uncouth. Burping, on the other hand, is allowed.
就是不要少一个人啊，或者就不要，就是说不等别人就自己先吃了呀。在中国呢，生活着超过13亿的。
All important in China, family and social contacts.
压力还是蛮大的，因为同事之间有竞争啊，工作方面。
With over 1.3 billion people, there's so much competition and pressure in your job, so it's very important to foster relationships and have support from friends and family.
回到家里还是温馨的港湾，然后。
In China, we call that the sweet harbor.
还有除了家之外，还有一个朋友圈啊，自己的朋友也可以给自己很多的鼓励啊，所以中国人是对于家呀，朋友之间的关系是看得很重的。在中国，因为人口很多，所以呢，交通就经常会堵塞。
Lots of people means lots of traffic too. The massive cars in major cities like Shanghai and Peking lead literally to absolute chaos. Needing 30 minutes to go 500 meters is totally normal at rush hour. Completely crazy.
会非常的堵，有可能半个小时可能。
23.7 million vehicles were produced last year. Indeed, China is also the biggest production site for cars. Nowhere else are so many models made.
就属于很多的。对于交通问题的话。
On long journeys especially, it's better to take our super modern high-speed train. It doesn't get stuck in jams and can do up to 350 kilometers per hour.
如果是近距离的话，在城市里的话，我觉得骑自行车也是一个不错的选择。
For short journeys, typically Chinese, go by bike. That's healthy as well.
限制，然后又可以比较能够锻炼身体。
Finally, a wise Chinese saying, go through life with a smile and it will smile back. Goodbye for now. Perhaps we'll meet one day in China. And now full throttle with the world champion on the ideal line.
This is Shanghai International Circuit in China. China has been a race that I've very much enjoyed for the years, and the fan base that I have there seems to be growing every year, so it makes it an exceptional weekend for me. Turn 1 is one of the crucial parts, so we can check that out on the simulator. So when you're attacking turn 1, there's a big bump on the way in, and if you don't get the line quite right, you just understeer off the track, so run out of road. So it's really important to try and, you have your diff settings completely open, you have You have to ride the brakes and the throttle a little bit, but somehow you get through. It gets to a point where you have to be very patient and have the confidence that the rear of the car is not going to step out. And that comes with setup and patience. We have so much power this year, it's trying to get that power down, so you have to short shift all the way up to 4th. Nice and late into turn 6. Just kind of carry a lot of speed at the apex, there's always good grip there. Up through the gears again. Today we're holding 5th gear through turn 7 and into 8. It's lots of downforce, lots of grip. And then to 9 and 10, which is just kind of slow and low grip. Really difficult because it's very high temperatures on the tires. So, and braking for turn 11. It's important not to brake too late here because you really need to position the car well for 12 and 13. And 13 just goes on forever. And the car's always moving. You're braking nice and late. There's lots of time to be gained on the brakes there, but also you need to make sure you still get the exit. And to the last corner, you just don't want to lose what you've gained throughout the lap, so you kind of take it a little bit cautious. Not too wide on the exit. And that's the lap. It's one of the circuits that you have to put the balance to a point that you have lots of front, which suits my driving style because I like a car that's oversteery. A lot of right-handers, very, very tough on the front tires, so front graining is the biggest issue. Look forward to coming back out there and seeing the fans, and keep your fingers crossed.
Now to the latest standings. In the drivers' table, Sebastian Vettel pushes in between the 2 Mercedes men following his storming win in Malaysia. In the team standings, we welcome the next generation into the top 5. Toro Rosso pushing Red Bull out of 5th place. In Malaysia, Nico Rosberg did the fastest lap and thus pulls level in the battle for the fastest lap award. Level pegging 2 for the fastest pit stops. No one was quicker than Nico Hülkenberg with Force India in Australia or Sebastian Vettel with Ferrari in Malaysia. Red, finally shining bright again? A man sees red, but given the way he is, with a casual smile. Vettel at a sponsor's event. Office staff beam blissfully. A whiff of petrol is blowing through the suit-wearing workforce in tranquil Mönchengladbach. It's Vettel's first appearance in Germany in red. Up until now, I must say the mood's been very good. Things are developing well. We know where we want to go, but we know it's a long path. And to get there, you have to go step by step. You can't immediately be tearing up trees. The red Vettel finger is already there, a clear statement. 1 and 3 the places so far. They clearly both want to get back to former successful times. There's a new fresh wind blowing through the factory halls. Sebastiano and the beauty in red. That's grande amore. You can feel the pride in the Ferrari brand, but with my mechanic's grasp of German, it's currently still held very much in check. Maybe I ought to try to teach them a word or two. At the moment, it's more the other way round, with me trying to participate with my Italian. It's actually only via success that a Tifosi warms to a Tedesco. Nobody knows that better than Vittorio. In the Fossati Drivers Hotel, he's on first-name terms with the stars. Many have chattered around the kitchen table. Sebastiano and Ferrari had for years been more than just an affair, they say.
Before to answer to this, I have to call my lawyer. No, they are friends in the private. For sure, like me and you, like me and some other, we can be sympathetic each other or no. So the same thing happened in Formula One.
Seb and Eve, his car, reminiscent of Adam and Eve. Everything starting anew. Ferrari 059/4, the name of the stunning engine that's currently pushing not just Ferrari red, but also Sauber blue towards the front. Out of the dark into the light steps a young Brazilian. Suddenly, it's Felipe Nasser's time.
It has always been my dream. Since I began on motor racing when I was 7 years old in go-karts, this desire to reach Formula One came to me, and I just feel very happy to have achieved it.
The Sauber people around Nasser, the new high flyers. Admittedly, the Swiss team is barely making ends meet financially, but with Ferrari power in the back, dreams quickly grow. Formula One was the goal, but after just 2 races, the target is no longer merely being involved.
That's the first part of the dream. I think the second one now is to work on the progress and one day to become successful in Formula One.
Blue and red, 2 colors that would all too gladly like to upset silver this season. Especially Ferrari and Vettel, who after just 2 races in red already has a smile that promises success. Short and social, it's now off to Twitter & Co. Sepang, a sensation. Victory for Vettel, victory for Ferrari. The Italian media go crazy. Twitter explodes. Vettel, Italian national hero, party hard, Seb. Nico Rosberg, very sporting, congratulates Seb and Ferrari.
Congrats to Sebastian Ferrari. They really did an awesome job.
Nico's fans like the gesture. Even sportier before Sepang jogging up 2,000 steps, worn out by the PR stunt. It was a cool one at least.
Amazing experience here at the top of the Petronas Twin Towers.
Less popular, poor loser, Hamilton grumbles about the team, blaming radio messages and tyres. The social network reaction, a huge outcry. Less to moan about for Sepang's circuit operators, contract extended until 2018. Elsewhere, the rumour mill is bubbling. Vettel a father again? According to F1 boss Eccleston, that's right. Emotional in his own way, Raikkonen geeing fans up for a show run in Budapest.
I am very happy and excited to participate in Nacht to Futam. See you May 1st.
But we don't have to wait so long. There's sure to be more emotion in Shanghai. That's it from the Social Net for now. A short break, then we continue with Mr. Grand Prix. Nobody's driven more races. And charity events of recent years with Jackie Chan and Co. Stay tuned to Inside Grand Prix. Welcome back to the second part of Inside Grand Prix. Coming up, F1's aims for good causes. And first, young and wild, test drivers in Formula One. The subspec, close to the action, but not actually involved. In this respect, there are 5 different types. Type 1, young, ambitious and talented. Still an unknown, but an up-and-coming star on the way to the top. A stage en route test driver. Future prospects, a regular drive. Pascal Verlaine.
Für mich ist die Erfahrung als Testfahrer sehr wichtig, weil ich...
For me, the experience as a test driver is very important, as in this way I get to know the car and get familiar with Formula One, attending all the meetings. When the drivers are out driving, I have the radio on and listen to what they and the engineers are saying, and what the engineers discuss in background between themselves, which the driver doesn't hear at all, as it's sometimes very heated.
Teilweise geht's da wirklich sehr zur Sache.
Type 2, young, ambitious and talented, but not an unknown. The son of. Family connections are in this case anything but an obstacle in climbing towards the top. Jolyon Palmer, son of Jonathan, former F1 driver.
Yeah, I don't get a huge amount of advice. Of course, it's helpful to have him in the background as a bit of a mentor role, and with so much experience, it's useful. But I can't wait to get working with Lotus. It's a great opportunity for me to move into Formula One and work with a prestigious Formula One team as well, a successful team. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to the challenge and hoping for a great year.
Type 3, young, ambitious, talented, son of, and some initial F1 experience already gained. A main drive seemed certain, then relegated to the reserves, waiting with grinding teeth for his next chance. It's a hard business. Kevin Magnussen.
I mean, Kevin will bring obviously a very key supporting advice and let's say role. And he, as you said, he was driving for us last year, and he's very, very definitely eager to get back in racing for McLaren. So he will do his best, obviously, by supporting the team to get back to the front of the grid.
Same story, same fate, only in red. Esteban Gutierrez.
At the moment, to be a third driver is a really, really good step to be in a team such like Ferrari with a big history behind. And wearing the red colors gives you a lot of passion and gives you a very special emotional state to be motivated to do the best.
Type 4 race experience, pretty and female. The testosterone community's quota of women is certainly offering a breath of fresh air. Wife of is no doubt an advantage for a woman's career. But Susie has ultimately had a man put ahead of her again in Adrian Sutil.
Well, many people say that motorsport is a male-dominated world, but it's also my world. You know, I was racing since I was only 8 years old, so I'm familiar with my surroundings. There's actually a lot of women working in my team now. My boss at Williams is a lady. There's a lot of female engineers, and more women are coming into the sport, and it's happening in an organic way. You know, they're coming in, they're very good at what they do, and they're rising up into good positions. So I think it is a man's world, but that's slowly but surely changing.
Type 5, young, good-looking female, test rookie. Lotus Flower Carmen Jorda, close but not yet actually there. Formula One's replacements bench, first place on the second row, something they all have in common and precisely what they want to change. Formula One, never slow to raise money, again and again.
Any more at £600 for Christian Horner's picture at £500 straight in. 2003, she's back.
Back again, a fantastic gesture this year in London, the Zoom charity event. Formula One celebrities showing they care. Their task, snap a picture of your choice, sign it, and then it goes under the hammer. They came, they saw, and they outbid, all in aid of children at Great Ormond Street Hospital.
It's not a case of giving children back. I mean, it's a funny thing, England's one of the few countries that I know that support things with charity. So it's just nice to do these things.
But it's not just the English. Mr. Eccleston, Monaco and the Lounge, a welcome diversion for the world's fastest models, and where money's been raised before for Elton John's AIDS Foundation, an unusual appearance. Very different, very hard, yeah, walking down that catwalk, but it's for a good cause and therefore nice to do. Formula One travels the globe, and with it, good causes. F1 and charity are at home everywhere. And thanks to many individual events, money keeps flowing. Slalom elegance it's not, be it at the Kits Charity Trophy in the snow or under Australia's sun, with former Red Bull man Mark Webber at a charity tennis tournament. Also a man of many good deeds and few words, Michael Schumacher. Charismatic in the name of charitable care. A man who, with his activities, always scores. One example, playing football for children in need. Probably the toughest charity event, the Pure Tasmanian Challenge. 600 kilometers in 6 days, with backpack through the quagmire in aid of kids with cancer. A cause close to the hearts of the sporting celebs, but a really tough challenge.
The sting out of the race will go after 3 or 4 days. I think the last few days will literally be survival.
A lot less strenuous, raising money through art. With paint and a good touch on the accelerator, a particularly creative artwork is produced. It was created in a really crazy way. I simply took my F1 car, placed the canvas behind it, put paint down on the track, and then did a wheel spin, spraying it straight on with 800 horsepower and spinning wheels. Talking of canvas, on 1, 2, 3, he paints while the event's still running. In 2013, in Abu Dhabi, for instance, he'd finished his portrait of the world champion before Sebastian Vettel crossed the line. Often donated for good causes. Another special form of art, Red Bull's Faces for Charity. For a £10 charge, send in a photo and be a passenger on the world's fastest billboard. Begun in 2008, it had lots of big names already on board even then.
I've bought a couple of pictures on both cars. So my grandmother is doing the race with Mark Webber, and my dog is a big fan of David Coulthard.
Fast and spontaneous such is fundraising in Formula One. Here a charity evening in Asia with Black Eyed Peas and many VIPs. Very prominent among them, Jackie Chan.
I love every car, Formula One, all kinds of sports car, I like it. You know, old man, young boy, everybody loves cars.
And it's precisely this that unites them. Formula One, demonstrating social responsibility regardless of what continent it may happen to be on. And now, the winner of the first race in China in 2004. One man, one career, with countless facets. Rubens Barrichello, his 324 Formula One starts unsurpassed to this day. His guitar skills, somewhat questionable. Samba singer, also not an option. However, Rubinho from Sao Paulo did find his passion locally.
When I was young, I could come from the school and I could go by bus or, being very close to the circuit, and I could hear the noise and timing, and it was very, very good.
Rubens Barrichello, a small boy with a big dream. His great role model, naturally, national hero Ayrton Senna. In 1993, he joined Jordan. Over 4 seasons, he made it up to 6th in the drivers' standings. He switched to the newly formed Stewart team, and over 3 years there, helped to establish it as a 4th force. Time then to move on up. In 2000 came the call from Ferrari, and Barrichello raced with them successfully for 5 years. 5 Constructors' titles in all, and runner-up in the Drivers' Championship in 2002 and 4. He's regarded as the last right-foot breaker in F1. Rubens thus goes into the corners quickest, they'd say. But Schumi would come out again faster. Superstar Michael Schumacher was the boss. The maître, the clear #1 in the team. 1B is even what Barrichello called himself. And the dull aftertaste struck. Thwarted within the team system, he generally smiled off his frustration until he then left.
In one way, I'm sad to leave because I created so many friends. I mean, Ferrari, yes, we did have some small problems, but we did have so many glory days as well. And I think, I'm proud to say that I contributed to many things at Ferrari, and they did it to me as well. It's only because of Ferrari that I'm able to choose to go to another team and try to be a world champion.
Out of his Ferrari contract, into the Honda cockpit. At the Japanese works team, ambitions were high.
Honda for me is a big name. Honda, it's been the past of my friend Ayrton Senna. He used to tell me a lot about Honda, and I'm just honored.
But instead of career boost came decline. New colleague Jenson Button was also a man Barrichello was seldom able to overcome. The car remained unreliable. Despite intensive development work, Honda surprisingly announced their withdrawal at the end of 2008. Ross Brawn took over the rudder and out of nothing created a sensation.
I would say that it's very much of a chance that I've been dreaming of. Didn't have that on the past 3 years after Ferrari, and now I'm sitting on a very competitive car. The Brown GP with the Mercedes engine is definitely the car to beat, and I'm sure we'll be fighting for the championship.
World champion.
Won and yet lost. At the penultimate race, Barrichello's dreams dashed. Fans and F1 world acclaim Button. Barrichello? Nowhere to be seen. When the Mercedes teams then got taken over, there was no longer any place for the Brazilian. Next step, Williams. Barrichello showed team spirit and commitment.
I'm actually camping
in the Williams factory with my motorhome, and I'm there for 3 days for just to learn everyone's names, and it's a really good exercise, and I enjoy it very much. That's my motivation.
But the cult team was not competitive financially or on the track. And thus, at the end of the 2011 season, after 19 years, the longest of all Formula One careers ended without the really big triumph. Nevertheless,
you have ups and downs, but for me, the speed is everything. I'm such a lover of the Formula One speed.
A career with many facets, 11 Formula One victories in all, and one of them at the first Grand Prix in China in 2004. Rubens Barrichello. Now, the latest pit lane chatter. First victory in red for the four-time world champion. A comparison is a must. The result, he's won for the Scuderia faster than his role model Schumacher. In 1996, Michael needed 7 races before he was celebrating from the top step for the Italians. Vettel's now after his 5th title. 17 years, 5 months and 27 days. And since Malaysia, the youngest F1 driver ever to score points, Max Verstappen, 7th place. That makes 6 points. He thus beat the previous best of Toro Rosso predecessor Daniel Kvyat by 2.5 years. Congratulations on this impressive record. The hardest braking point on the Shanghai International Circuit's at the end of the longest straight ahead of turn 14. The driver has to decelerate here by 268 kilometers per hour in only 1.75 seconds over just 161 meters. The calculated brake energy involved is 2,099 kilowatts. In addition, the driver is subjected to an extreme 4.9 G while he pushes with 183 kilograms onto the brake. That's it for today on Inside Grand Prix. In our next program, everything revolves around Bahrain and the race in the desert. Be sure to tune in.